This has been one of, if not the most pivotal things that I've done for myself personally that has allowed me to level up and succeed, not just for my fitness, but for my business, for my mental health, for my relationships. Everything came down to this. I was born in the Netherlands, which is a small little country in Europe. I grew up as a really chubby kid. Right from the get-go, I always felt the need to fit in because I wasn't like most of my friends. Most of my friends were super active, they were skinny, they were slim, they looked good, they felt comfortable with their shirt off, but that was not me. For the majority of my life, I always felt really insecure about myself, simply due to the way I look. I had a hard time fitting in with my peers, I guess, in school, during soccer practice. I played soccer all my life, but I wasn't like the most athletic kid growing up. I grew up being a goalie because I was like the biggest, chubbiest kid, so I could like fill the nets, obviously. I was actually a really good goalie, which is quite funny, but never really was able to like fit in fully, especially when summer came around. I was always that one kid in the family pictures in my friend group who would always leave their shirt on, right? Because I just didn't feel comfortable with my shirt off. And then at the age of 11, my family and I moved to Canada. It was a complete culture shock. Brand new country, brand new like everything, right? So me being like this chubby kid was constantly trying to fit in. I'll imagine myself moving to a brand new country, brand new language, brand new everything. You could imagine how difficult that was for me to like really try to fit in that. Like I was still this chubby kid. And honestly, it made matters even worse because for those of you who haven't seen the difference between European food versus North American food, it is a huge 9-day difference. The food you find in Europe tends to be a lot healthier, a lot cleaner, and you just don't have access to as many junk processed foods compared to North America. I remember the first time I moved to Canada, we went grocery shopping. I think we went to Walmart, and Walmart was like this brand new thing to me. I've never been to a store that big in my life before, and they obviously had the grocery aisle, and I just remember as a kid, 11 years old, just moving to Canada, browsing up and down the cereal aisle, the snack aisle, the cookie aisle, and it literally felt like I was in heaven, basically, because I literally saw all these foods growing up as a kid, watching the American movies, watching Drake and Josh, the classic Christmas movies, and they always had like these foods that we never had access to in the Netherlands. And so when I first moved to Canada and I actually saw them in real life in person, I was like, oh my goodness. And I literally begged my parents like, oh, can we get the Chips Ahoy cookies? Can we get these pizza pops? Can we get this frozen pizza? Can we get this really cool cereal? They had like cookie cereal, they had like Oreo cereal, like all these crazy things, Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, all these things that I knew existed, but I just did not have in the Netherlands. This made matters even worse. I gained a lot more weight. I got a lot more chubby. That made me a lot more insecure as well. So that made me trying to fit into obviously this new culture a lot more difficult. Eventually over time, I kind of fit in. I was not really concerned about what I wanted to do or what my beliefs were or what I liked. I was more so concerned about how can I change myself in order to fit into this group of people, specifically like the cool kids. They go to all the parties, they go to all the fun events. I literally changed most of who I was in order to fit into this group of people, and I did that all throughout elementary school, and then in grade 8 I went to high school. I pretty much did the exact same thing. I remember I went through this phase where I would go to the shopping mall and I would buy all these crazy clothes. Like I go to this really popular store called Zoomies, and they just had all the cool clothes at the time, they had all the cool brands, and I was just like obsessed with getting all the cool clothes. I got all the cool shoes. I wore jeans, and I hate wearing jeans. I've always, since I was a kid, I hated wearing jeans. Even now I hate wearing jeans, but I forced myself to wear jeans because that's what the cool kids were wearing, right? And I just bought all these weird clothes in order for me to like fit into this group of people. I even changed some of my personality where I did more pranks, I did more challenges, and I definitely got myself outside of my comfort zone, which that in itself was a pretty good thing, I guess, but I just never was myself. Going into grade 9, I don't know what happened, but I was just like, I am not who I want to be. When I first moved to Canada, kind of stopped playing soccer, which like soccer was like my biggest thing growing up as a kid in the Netherlands, obviously, because soccer in Europe is huge. Obviously, it's not as big in North America. I kind of stopped playing soccer, and then I played more of like these other sports like ice hockey, ball hockey, basketball. And don't get me wrong, I love this. Like I love playing sports, I love being active. But then for some reason, I think in grade 8, in the summer of grade 8, I think I got inspired because this was in 2014, and this is when the World Cup happened in Brazil. I'd wake up super early due to the time difference to watch all these soccer games, and it just got me so inspired to like reignite the spark of like me pursuing my dream of becoming a pro soccer player. This is my passion. I love doing this. But when I moved to Canada, that spark kind of diminished because if I was playing soccer, I wasn't going to be fitting in with the cool kids essentially, right? So I kind of stopped playing soccer as much, and I did more of the sports that the cool kids were playing, like ice hockey and basketball. But then when I went through this 2014 summer period, I watched all the World Cup games. I just got so inspired. I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is what I love. So I kind of stopped playing as much hockey and basketball, and I really like honed in on doing what I actually love doing, which is playing soccer. After that summer, I went all in on trying to become the best athlete possible. I took my diet a lot seriously then. I took my workouts a lot more seriously then. I played soccer as much as I possibly could before school, a bit during school, during lunch break, and then also after school. Year after year, I just kept on leveling up in terms of they have like different divisions. It started at like the Silver League, and then the Gold League, and then the Metro League, and then the HPL League, which is like the provincial league where you like basically the best team in the province, or I guess the state. And I just kept on leveling up, where eventually I had a scholarship to play soccer. And all throughout this time from grade 8 up until grade 12 onwards, I just completely got rid of all the people that I was around in order to fit in, and I just laser focused on my passion and my goal, which was to play soccer. I slowly but surely, without realizing it, lost most of my quote-unquote friends, or I guess it wasn't really me losing friends, it was just me more so really identifying who my real friends were at the time. And I noticed that literally all the people that I used to hang out with, none of those people stayed with me, because I was doing my own thing, they were doing their thing, and because I was so focused on becoming the best athlete possible, it slowly but surely kind of like detracted me from them. And now don't get me wrong, it wasn't like an overnight thing, it was more of like a slow burn. When you're around a group of people who are just so comfortable with where they're at right now, and they start to see you do more than them in terms of like trying to level up, whether it's career-wise, sport-wise, anything-wise really, you'll subconsciously notice that your old group of friends will subconsciously, whether they realize it or not, try to slowly but surely drag you down. The analogy of crabs in a bucket, where one crab tries to escape the bucket, but then they get stopped by the other crabs who are trying to pull them down. So it's almost like this vicious cycle where you can't really escape the bucket because every single crab is trying to like stop you from escaping. And as soon as the other crab tries to escape, the other crab tries to stop them. I try to leave my old group of people in order to pursue something greater than what they had. People don't really want you to succeed, unfortunately. All from grade 9 up until grade 12 onwards was very lonely for me. Never went to a party, never really hung out with people after school, never really hung out with people during school. I started going on runs during lunch break, which a lot of people kind of made fun of me for. I had a really good relationship with my gym teacher. Before school, I'd always show up a bit earlier so I could do my morning workouts, and he gave me the keys to the gym, which was insane. After school, I'd always go to soccer practice, and if I wasn't going to soccer practice after school, I was going to work. I worked at a farmer's market. I worked there a couple times a week. I was grinding. Like, I was busy. I was making money. I was becoming the best athlete I could, and as you can tell by doing all these things, plus studying for school and stuff, trying to get good grades, getting a scholarship to play soccer, I didn't really have a lot of free time. That is why also I probably did not have that much time to be around friends for most of my high school years. As soon as I graduated high school, I moved provinces from British Columbia to Edmonton, Alberta, which is the province next to it, because I had a scholarship to play soccer there. So this was the first time I ever moved out. I was 17 years old. I was a super shy kid, and this was a huge thing for me. I was like, yes, this is the next step for me in order to become a pro soccer player. I would go to the gym in the morning, I'd go to classes during the day, and then after classes were done, we'd go to soccer practice, and after soccer practice was done, I'd go back home, eat my healthy meals, and then go to bed, and then kind of repeat that for 2 years, because 2 years after is when COVID hit. Soccer season got canceled. I got sent back home again, and this was the first time when I kind of felt depressed. My entire purpose for literally going to school was so I could pursue my dream of becoming a pro soccer player. But as soon as COVID hit and that got taken away from me, I was left back at home, isolated, doing school online. I was studying economics at the time, which I was definitely not passionate about, without playing soccer on my own in my bedroom on my laptop. I'm like, this is horrible. I hate this. I had a couple part-time jobs at the time. I worked at a gym. I worked at the supplement store. And that's also the time when I really took my social media a bit more seriously. I had 1 or 2 years left before I could actually graduate school. And I just remember waking up one morning, this was in 2022, and I noticed that I got kicked out of all of my classes. I'm like, what the heck? This is so weird. What is going on? So I did a bit more research, and I noticed that in order for you to continue on participating, you needed to show proof of vaccination. I did not have proof, and so I kind of took that as like, okay, this is really weird. What do I do now? And my second dream at the time was to move to Texas, and I took this as an opportunity to say, okay, this sucks. I got kicked out of all my classes. I really want to pursue this whole fitness influencer, personal trainer, online coach thing. I knew in Canada, where I was at the time, the opportunity, there was just no one else really doing it. And I knew that in Houston, Texas, it was like this hub of fitness people doing similar things. I kind of took that as an opportunity for me to take the plunge, buy a car, spend all of my savings from working during high school at the farmer's market and working at the supplement store and gym, used all that money to buy a car car to literally drive across the border from Vancouver, Canada, all the way down to Texas. It was a total of 40 hours. It was like a 2-week trip. I put myself in an environment that really allowed me to pursue my dream all throughout this entire journey. I was very lonely, trying to navigate through life, trying to become a pro soccer player, but then when COVID hit, that got taken away from me. And then my goals kind of shifted from becoming a pro athlete to now wanting to become a personal trainer, an online fitness coach. I was really lonely during this time because no one else was really doing what I was doing. I just decided that I would rather be on my own and try to do this on my own rather than giving up my goal and giving up my dream in order to fit in with the other people. I moved to Houston in 2022. I still felt a bit alone because it was kind of like this lonely middle ground. It's kind of like this in-between phase where you don't fit in with your old friends anymore, but at the same time, you're also not good enough to surround yourself with the new friends that you want to be with. So it's like you're way too good to be around your old friends, but then you're not quite good enough in order to be around the people that you actually want to be with. So you're kind of stuck in this middle ground, which I like to identify as the lonely chapter. When you're alone all the time, it's like, well, is this even worth it? You go on social media, you see other people partying, it's like, ooh, you get this FOMO, you get this fear of missing out. I literally left my environment in Canada and I forced myself to go in this environment in Texas now, where I was literally surrounded by other people who were doing the things that I wanted to do. They were all online fitness coaches. They were all making content. They were all doing things that I wanted to do, right? And I met some incredible people. And then as I surrounded myself more and more with these people, I started to like level up. I started to invest into myself. I started to learn. Before you know it, you start to like develop this group of people who are now aligned with your goals and your visions. And I'm just so happy that I went through that lonely chapter in order to identify who I truly wanted to become. Now that I really know who I am, I can now attract the type of people who truly like me for who I am, as opposed to me pretending to be someone who I'm really not in order to fit in with a group of people. All from the age of 0 up until the age of like 14, 15. My entire purpose was just to try to fit in with a group of people who I thought were cool. But then as soon as I made that shift towards prioritizing myself and prioritizing my own goals, I noticed right away that I lost all those people. I lost all those friends. And it was a sacrifice that I had to make in order to truly identify who I was as a person and in order for me to actually achieve my goals. If your friends do not support your goals, your goal should be to find new friends. I'm a huge believer on that. I know it sounds really transactional, but I would hate to look back on my life and say the reason I did not accomplish my goal was because of my friends Jerry or because of Tom or because of Tim. And if you say it out loud like that, it sounds really stupid and moronic. The reason I did not fulfill my potential, the reason I did not reach my goal was because I let these group of people hold me back. And you're basically casting blame onto other people, and that's not fair to them either. It is your job, it is your duty as a human being, as just whoever you are and want to be, to align your incentives and to design your life and design your environment to help you reach those goals as easy as possible. By you putting yourself in an environment where people do not want to see you succeed, people don't want you to get better, you're just making it 10 times harder on yourself to actually reach your goals. And so I had to get rid of all those people, first of all. Second of all, go through the lonely chapter where I could actually identify what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. Once I identified that, work ruthlessly towards that. Then as you work towards it, you'll know exactly who you are as a person. Once you actually feel confident and comfortable in who you are, you can actually start to attract the right type of people. By you being yourself, by me being myself, I attracted people who truly like me for who I am as a person, as opposed to me putting on a show for other people in order for me to fit in with those people. I was in this relationship and I liked the idea of being in a relationship, but I noticed that their goals were not aligned with my goals and we just had different incentives. I had my own goals, they had their own goals. It got really, really messy. I ultimately had to make the decision of would I rather sacrifice my goals in order to be with this person, or would I rather sacrifice being with this person in order for me to get to my goal? This sounds horrible, but I think every man needs to focus on their purpose and needs to be aligned with their purpose. And if that means getting rid of people, whether it's friends, partners, relationships, then so be it. I feel so much better waking up every single morning, chasing after my goals, chasing after my purpose, chasing after my mission, than I did being with someone who sure made me feel good at times. It's comforting, it's all these things, but it was simply detracting me from actually achieving my goals. This is something that you're going to have to make a decision for yourself. I was willing to make that decision and I do not regret it one single bit. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make sure they lift you up and not weigh you down. If you want 6-pack abs, if you want to be fit, why are you surrounded by people who smoke alcohol, drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, go out to party, eat junk food every weekend? If you want to be fit, you should be around people who are fit, who encourage you to work out, who encourage you to run, who push you, who challenge you, who eat healthy. Instead of every weekend ask you to go out to party, instead ask you like, hey, let's wake up at 6 a.m. and let's go on a run. Let's go to this run club. Let's go to the gym. Of course you know that. Yet you're still surrounding yourself with losers, people who drag you down, crabs in the bucket. Why? Why are you doing that to yourself? Don't you think your goals are more important than the 5 minutes of pleasure you get by drinking alcohol, by escaping reality? If not, then so be it. But then don't sit there and complain about you not being in the shape you want to be in, or you not making enough money, or you not having the right partner by taking those actions. Don't be surprised. I had to go through the lonely chapter for years in order to get to where I am now. It's not easy. It's not fun at times. But is it worth it? Heck yeah. I can look back from years ago and say, wow, I'm so glad I went through that phase. Because had I not, probably be a fat piece of crap, sitting on a couch, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking alcohol. I don't even know where I'd be, to be honest. I'd definitely be overweight. I'd definitely probably be broke. I probably would not be able to travel the world. I would not be where I am now had I not gone through that lonely chapter. If I kept trying to please other people and changing who I was internally in order to be around these types of people, in order to be cool and fit in, I'd be a loser. Look at your circle right now. Look at the people you spend the most time with. Is it conducive towards helping you reach your goals, or is it taking you further away from it? If it's taking you further away from it and you actually want to accomplish your goals, then I would say be ruthless. Get rid of those people. Change your environment. Move across the city. Move across the country. Move countries. Do something to put yourself in a situation where you are able to reach your goals. I have made plenty of risks in my life. I moved countries. I've moved cities numerous times. I've invested into mentorships. I put myself in uncomfortable situations. I've challenged myself. I've done 2 bodybuilding shows. I ran 3 marathons. I keep on setting new goals for myself. Do I want to? No. Is it challenging? Absolutely. But is it worth it? Heck yeah. Every single freaking time. So if you're not happy with where you're at right now, just assess your environment, assess your relationships, assess your friendships, and ask yourself this question and take your emotions out of it. Are these people in my life getting me closer to my goals or further away from my goals? And if your goals are important to you, I talk with a lot of people and they tell me that their goals are important to them, but their actions are not aligned with that. And they would so much rather just be with these group of people who drag them down than actually achieve their goals. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine. But then once again, do not sit there and complain about you being broke, you not being in the shape you want to be in, you not having enough energy, you not being confident in yourself, you not being able to travel the world when you want to. Do not blame it on them. You're in control. Things in life will not always be your fault, but at the end of the day, it will always be your responsibility. It is not my fault that it is raining, but it is my responsibility to bring an umbrella when I go on a walk if I don't want to get wet. I would just hate for you to resent other people and to sit on your deathbed and say, wow, the reason I didn't get in shape was because of my friend Tom, or the reason I didn't travel the world was because of my partner. Like, you should be selfish. You should 100% be selfish, because if you're not, you're just going to start to resent other people and you yourself are not going to be able to live the life that you want to live. I'm very selfish. I'm probably the most selfish person you'll ever meet, but it allows me to be selfless, because by me being selfish, I get to work on myself, which allows me to help other people. We've helped hundreds of busy men by now drop body fat, right? And that's all because I was selfish. I had to be selfish by not going to parties so I could study, so I could learn, so I could educate myself, so I could invest into mentorship, so I could learn. And by me learning, by me making those sacrifices to learn more, I could therefore help more people. Does that really sound selfish now? No, it sounds pretty selfless, actually. You're being selfish in order to be selfless, in order to help other people. Same thing applies with your family. In order for you to show up as a leader, you should probably be selfish and do your workouts and eat healthy. Because if you don't, you're not going to have enough energy to play with your kids, to take her out to date nights. If she wants to go travel every single month, if you want to go travel every single month with your family, you should probably make a couple sacrifices and be selfish, and maybe work a couple more hours, maybe get a promotion, get a better job. Sure, maybe selfish in the moments, but over time, you get to help more people and actually show up as a better leader for your friends and your family. Right now, I only maybe have 1 or 2 friends that I actually talk to. We talk every single day. We talk fitness, we talk business, we talk, it's just like everything. But they are so close to me. Like, these are like my ride or dies. These are my partners. And I would so much rather have these 1 or 2 very close connections as opposed to hundreds of like just random people on my phone who just text me every now and then. I would rather have 1, 2, 3 max really close people. One of them being my partner, maybe 2 other people being like my ride or dies, my bros. No matter what happens, like, we are there for each other. I would so much rather have this, like a tight-knit group of people who are aligned with my goals, who help me, who push me, who help me grow, who actually get me to my goals a lot quicker and a lot more efficient, and having hundreds of random people who get my attention away from my ultimate true purpose in life. But that's just me. If you don't want to be successful, then by all means, have like 100, 200 random people on your phone text you, call you every single day to track you from your goals. You don't find better people, you attract them by leveling up. For example, if you want to attract a supermodel, look at yourself right now. Like, ask yourself this question: would you date you right now? Would you have sex with yourself right now? Take off your shirt and look at yourself in the mirror. Do you find yourself attractive? Would you kiss yourself? Would you have sex with yourself? Do you make yourself horny? Whenever I take off my shirt in the mirror, in the morning, in the afternoon, I look at myself a lot in the mirror. At the gym with a bump, I'm like, heck yeah, I am one sexy badass mofo. I would definitely have sex with me. It sounds weird, but I would. Sometimes I'll look at myself in the mirror and say, wow, like, whoever is with me, like, yeah, they're in luck, right? But if you don't view yourself like that, like you got to level yourself up, because how can you expect to be with a supermodel if you are not on that level? Same thing with your friends. If you want to surround yourself with like millionaires, in order to be around millionaires, you should probably be a millionaire. Why would a millionaire talk to someone who's broke, or at least put them in the same circle as them? They wouldn't. Same thing with like fit people. Like fit people are really smart. They know that they should probably be around fit people. And if they don't, and if they surround themselves with like fat people, for example, they have nothing in common either. It's like if I were to surround myself with broke people, with losers who only talk about sports events, going out every weekend, I have nothing in common with them. I'm like, like I have nothing to say. I have nothing to add to the conversation. Whereas if you put me in a room with entrepreneurs who are driven, who are into fitness, who are just like driven, we bounce ideas of each other. I'll tell them one thing, they'll tell me another thing. It's like we level each other up. If you want to be around a group of people who are millionaires, you should probably focus on trying to provide value to them, but then more importantly, try to become a millionaire yourself. If you want to be dating a supermodel, you should probably be a supermodel yourself, or at least be valuable or attractive enough in order to attract a supermodel. So you don't find better people, you attract them by leveling up. So stop wishing to be around a group of people and start acting like you belong there. Like if I see someone who's really driven, I love seeing that. I want to be around that. I want to invite them into my circle because they have potential, they're ambitious, and I know I can probably learn something from them. The better you become, the better your environment becomes. This is so powerful, and that is why your job is simple. Focus on being your authentic self, stay consistent, and the right people will recognize your energy. One of the biggest hacks is literally leveling yourself up so that you can be around people who are also leveling themselves up, and then together you guys can level up 2x. That is why I'm such a big fan of joining mentorship programs, joining groups, being in an environment where you're literally forced to grow, and if you don't grow, you get pushed away, you get kicked out, because they don't want you there. They only want winners. So here's my closing message. You will lose people if you're ambitious and actually want to achieve your goals. That's what happened to me. That's what will happen to you if you actually want to go through this route and be successful. It's not going to be fun at times. It's not going to be easy, but it is always going to be worth it. Now, if you want to change your life, you need to change your circle. If you can't find the right circle yet, build it yourself. Now, if you're in that lonely chapter right now, keep on going. It means you're evolving. Or if you're tired of being around people who don't get you to your goals, come join the Barbarian Squad, our online coaching program. We're building a brotherhood of men who actually want more out of life. That's why we're so big on community instead of our online coaching program. So if you need help losing weight and you're sick and tired of being around people who are fat and are crabs in a bucket, who don't want to see you succeed, who keep on dragging you down, book a free consultation call with me down below. We'll essentially go over your goals, we'll go over your current struggles and create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush your goals in the next coming months. So I'll let you guys go, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.